All right, everybody. Finally got a new phone. One that's 400% more awesome than my old phone. I went from an iPhone 7 to an iPhone 11, but I still hate iPhones. Hooray. Anyways, I want to talk about something that I saw a few weeks ago, but because my phone was broken, actually it wasn't broken, it just really sucked. I couldn't really record all of my thoughts on it without it screwing up. So, hopefully this phone lets me do that. I saw a post that said, over-explaining yourself and over-explaining things is a symptom of having been gaslighted most of your life. Well, that immediately stuck with me because if you look at my video list, you'll see that I'm quite the talker, quite the explainer. And it really struck home with me because if you've noticed, we now call it being, quote, triggered, right? But think about being triggered for a second. When somebody when somebody asserts something or makes an assumption, we get this immediate, visceral, emotional response. Even whenever we don't get triggered, when we're trying to do something, but I'm sure some of you are like me, when you want to do something, even just something simple, you have to over-explain it, right? You give the whole background, you give the epilogue, you give the content, you cover all the bases, you navigate every decision tree that could possibly come about, and then you eulogize the idea, right? This is because if you've been gaslighted for any significant amount of time, you understand the frustration of people, quote, misinterpreting what you're saying. You get used to the idea that people are going to do the wrong things, or that people are going to blame you for something when it doesn't go right. So there's this ever-building proactiveness that comes about as a result of gaslighting. Now, that's huge to me because that's what I do. And I get a lot of complaints about it, right? I'm like, okay, we get it. You know, all right, enough. But that's where it comes from. And I never made that association. See, I've always been sort of pedantic. And it's especially useful in my line of work with software because software's imaginary, and I have to deliver an imaginary product that fits the imagination of somebody else's mind. So to be pedantic gives me an edge in my career. But it doesn't give me an edge when we're grocery shopping, when I have to say specifically what variety of potatoes is it you are asking for, what kind of quantity, would you like the ones that are individually bagged, or should I get the bag of potatoes? And whenever you say chicken, exactly what part of the chicken's anatomy are you asking for? Do you want antibiotic-free chicken, or do you want the drugged chicken? You know, what kind of chicken would you like? When you say butter, what brand of butter? Do you want the tub butter or from the cow butter? You know, these types of questions, yes, they're a mixed basket, right? Because it's just grocery shopping. One of the things that I haven't really been thinking about in the times, see, because I'm so pedantic, because I don't want to come home and hear the wife say, ugh, you got the wrong thing. It's like, well, thanks for leaving it wide open. Instead of viewing it for what it really is, there's really no ill consequence of bringing the wrong butter home from the store. We'll still eat it. And if she doesn't like it, then she can go buy her own butter. You know, instead of me being the guardian of the list. You see what I mean? There's the threat that I'm perceiving is to be bringing home the wrong groceries and to be blamed for not getting it right or for not observing. There's all these scenarios that are just sort of mashed up in my head that collectively have formed the habit of be specific. If you don't specify the type of butter, I'm bringing you a watermelon. That kind of stuff, and it translates into other areas as well. And there's some things that don't need translating, right? Like, go buy gas. What specific gas station do you want me to go to? And what octane gas would you like me to purchase? I'm not pedantic in that area. And who knows why? Maybe because historically I've always been the one to buy the gas. And I just tell my wife what station to go to and where to buy it. But even still, it's not really something that I'm pedantic about. So there's specific areas in our lives where we require or deliver a great deal of information. And then there's areas of our lives where we don't. And the point of this video that I'm making is, I'm sure if you're on my channel, I'm sure you have been accused of over-explaining things or being dramatic or caring too much about, why do you care enough? Why do you care so much? Followed by, I don't understand why you don't care about this. That's where it comes from. So it's really just something worth thinking about. I heard somebody one time, somebody told me that whenever they go grocery shopping, if it's not specified and if they don't know what to get, they just get a watermelon for whatever it was that wasn't clear, and they just don't bother. They don't bother asking for clarification. They just come back with a watermelon. It's like a giant watermelon, and it's like, here, where's the butter? Watermelon. Watermelon is delicious. I mean, I can't really find any fault with that. I like some watermelon, but I digress. Think about these things in your life when you're accused of over-explaining, when you're accused of under-explaining, right? Triggers, especially. Triggers are a direct result of being subjected to frequent conflict. I hate to say it's a PTSD response, or I hate to say it's even PTSD like response, because I don't want to make such an assertion, but it's sort of along those lines, where military veterans that have seen conflict and been in war, they can't handle the sound of fireworks. Fireworks scares them, and it puts them in a really bad place. We don't call that being triggered. We call that for what that is. It's mental health trauma, and that's PTSD. It's hard to compare our triggers to something like that, and I don't mean to make such a comparison, except to say, when you get triggered and when you suddenly just come out with all the emotions, it probably comes from something like that. And this also happens online. This happens online a lot, perhaps a lot more, where you've been online, you've been sitting on the toilet and long ago finished your business, but you take that extra 20 minutes of leg numbing sitting position to thoroughly twiddle out your viewpoint with your thumbs, and then you write this very long, articulated, well thought out response or post or something to clearly communicate what's on your mind. And then some jackass replies with, "Too long, don't read it, they're triggered." Yay. It's exactly the kind of response we love to hear. We want to be able to think that if we thoroughly communicate our thoughts, our ideas, our feelings, that people will take the subject equally seriously. If we're talking about something serious and it's serious to us, we take the time to make a serious post. And when we make a serious post, everybody else is like, oh, it's too long to read. So then what? Well, then you just start just posting the mindless drivel. Where you're like, I know where this is going, and I'm not doing it. And so then communication breaks down. So these are all sorts of contributing factors to the whole over-explaining things, being triggered, and all of that, whatever. So, anyways, hope this gives you something to think about. I'm gonna cut it off for now, and hopefully I hear from some of you guys. Sound off in the comments. Join the Facebook group Narcissistectomy, or as I like to call it, Narcissectomy, because I had originally planned on spelling it that way, and I just spelled narcissist. And anyways, that's not the point. The point is there's a group on Facebook. I've got almost a dozen members, so that's cool. We are growing. We are a small but dedicated force to contend with. So join the Facebook group. Sound off in the comments below. Please like or comment or share, and I'll see you on the next video.